Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, October 27th, and this is search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. Lot to discuss. We got two unconfirmed Google search ranking updates, one happening right now as I'm talking. Google signs listed some signs that how you can determine if you're writing unhelpful content, maybe. A lot of Google Ads news. Google Maps, and a lot more. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure to subscribe and like. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Duda. Duda is the professional website builder you can call your own. So check them out at duda.co. All right, so this morning we have a Google search ranking algorithm update rolling out. It's unconfirmed. It seems like there's initial early spikes of chatter and signals. SEMrush is not catching it, SERP metrics, advanced rankings, AccuRanker. These tools are all noticing that the rankings are volatile right this morning. Other tools will probably pick it up a little bit later. I assume a similar way Rank Ranger will soon see it as well. And there's a significant amount of chatter that's starting as of this morning. Talking about Google ranking algorithm updates, there also was another one that started on around October 25th that lasted only like 12 hours or so. Again, unconfirmed, but again, those tools were also noticing volatility, and there was more chatter than we're seeing right now. Of course, it was launched a few days ago, so we'll see. Again, Google did not confirm the October 25th or the October 27th ranking fluctuations. Maybe they're just tremors for the past core update, but we don't know for sure, and we'll never know, because that's Google. Google doesn't really tell us about unconfirmed updates. Danny Sullivan, the search liaison at Google, wrote a bunch of tweets, a ton of tweets actually, and he keeps adding more tweets, and I keep adding them to the post about basically signs. He provided signs of that you're writing unhelpful content. And he goes through, again, saying that unhelpful content is content that generally is written for search engine rankings and not for human audiences. And he goes on to say then, like, things like if you wrote 20 fun things you could do today because your primary purpose is you wanted to rank well for fun things, that's not helpful. And he goes on through other things. Like, I think the difficulty around tools is that it causes people to look too much at scores rather than actual practices. And it becomes, he said, well, maybe if I could change the words to that content and this to that, rather than the who, how, and why, which Google talked about before, I am producing this content. Again, these are ways of writing, in Google's mind or Danny's mind, unhelpful content. I basically said I wouldn't want it to be like some type of score, like you get a 31 out of 50 questions right, that you should start to rank. People shouldn't write that way. They should write to help users and not think about scores or 40 ways or different types of ways to go ahead and try to rank well. And there's a whole long thread. I quote Danny Sullivan a lot here. I posted on October 25th. I definitely recommend you read it. There's a few comments there as well. So definitely take a look at that. I think you would enjoy that post or get some use out of that post. I think for the first time ever, Google has confirmed testing ads within the actual organic search for your listings. Ginny Marvin, the Google Ads liaison, said, we're regularly experimenting and don't have anything to share at this point. This is spotted by Lydia Infante and also Patrick Stocks. Here's some screenshots of the ads. There's even GIFs of the ads showing directly in between the organic listings, not at the top of the page, but directly in at the 4th position, 5th position, 3rd position, and so forth. Again, this is the first, we've seen this before. I always thought it was bugs, and Google said before they were bugs. This is actually Google confirming that this is an actual test, which is, I think the confirmation is pretty significant, but I don't think other people think so as well. New this week, Google announced at the Google Search Central Live conference in Zurich, Ryan announced from Google saying now Google supports syntax graph merge. This allows you to use two different forms of structured data, such as JSON and LD and microdata, on the JSON, LD and microdata on the same page, and Google will support both. Ryan said this is a very bug. All right, that was just a ladybug. Okay, I'm okay. It's a ladybug. See, that's the most excitement you get on these videos ever. So, in any event, Ryan basically said you should only use this feature it's very cautiously. It's a very advanced feature. He said it's a somewhat advanced feature and that it launched last week and that this is working within the validator, the schema.org validator, the Google Rich Result Test, and all Google ingestions. Ryan I asked him what's changed. He said the change is that the different syntaxes can now connect together. So you could implement the breadcrumb markup in JSON LD, but reference a web page node that is in microdata. It was motivated by some platforms that needed to connect and mark up together that are generally by different libraries and plugins. So there you go. Google Search Console also had an issue with a failed host exceeded error. This was something that exploded earlier this week. Everybody was complaining about it over the weekend. It seemed to resolve itself over the past couple days, but there was a huge explosion of people complaining about this host load exceeded error that Google was showing in Google Search Console when you use the URL inspection tool to submit a page to the index. Again, that is fixed. Google's John Mueller said that cumulative layout shift is not the reason that you would have a sudden ranking drop. He said when somebody asked, did my rankings drop in Reddit, somebody asked, did my rankings drop because of this cumulative layout shift? And he said no, and that was it. Google's SGE answers are testing bolded text with a new link format. This was spotted by, so Carousel noticed the new bolded text. I could actually, I believe, replicate this as well. So I'm not sure if it's exactly new, but I've never seen this before where Google's bolding this text. Also, Glenn Gabe and Kenichi noticed this new type of link overlay. I'm going to show screenshots of both so you can see them. They seem new to me, so it's very interesting to see that as well. The Google About This Image feature is now fully rolling out. This is actually live, I believe, for everybody in, so I think, the United States and some other regions, where Google's going to show a couple of things. One is Google's going to show the history of that image, like how recent that image, when Google discovered that image, how the site uses that image and describes the image, and the metadata, if available, including if it was AI enhanced by an AI or other things in terms of how the image was made. Here's some screenshots from Glenn Gabe about how recent the image was, which is pretty cool. And there's also some GIFs I have in the blog post if you want to take a look at that as well. The Google Search Generative experience also is gaining what's called supportive links. And I was totally confused by this, so I went through this with Google in detail to find the real true source of what this is. And you can see here's a GIF that I put in there. You click on, you do a search for a site, then you click on the generate AI answer, then you scroll down to the first organic listing, you click on the little bars, and then you click on the manage about this source, and then it will show you this generative AI experimental slider carousel with more information here. Again, watch that again, you'll see it. It's very, very deep, so again, I don't think it's a huge deal, but I figured I'd point out where that is because Google made an announcement and nobody could figure out where that was. Google seems to be testing perspectives, search perspective filter directly in the desktop search result. This is spotted by Ethan Lazouk, who showed these screenshots of it. It's only been live on mobile from what I can see, but now it seems to be being tested directly in the desktop search results. Google's also testing showing user uploaded images for the product result images. So when you go to the product and you see the product grid in the actual search results, Carousel noticed that Google was actually showing for one of the images a user uploaded image, which is pretty interesting. And it makes you wonder, like, be careful that your user images are pretty nice. Otherwise, you might have a drop in conversions. Google has launched new AR beauty ads. These new AR beauty ads are basically a new ad format, which Google launched for the search results. And Google said you can now add a try-on experience in the place of search ad product images. With AR beauty ads, brands have a new way to promote their lip and eye products with foundation products coming soon. So this is what it looks like. Here's a GIF of it. Again, this has happened in organic for a while, but now Google's actually testing this or launching this in ads. So it's pretty cool. Google Ads is testing a new dynamic overview carousel with these stats on the top. It basically lets you scroll through as a carousel a bunch of more stats. You can actually customize what data you want to show in there. This was spotted by Anthony Higman, and Ginny Marvin, the Google Ads liaison, said, yes, we're experimenting with to show this to a limited number of advertisers. So this is confirmed as a test. This is pretty cool. I do hope they release this. This is a nice add-on, very helpful for a lot of people. Google Ads also launched a new API version 15. There's a bunch of new features with this, a major version update. So if you are using the Google Ads API, definitely take a look at that update. Version 15 is now out. Google Local Services Ads now lets you message, which we covered a few weeks ago. You can actually message your ad to the advertiser, but after you message the ad to the advertiser, Google's then immediately showing you competitors that you can also message. This is spotted by Anthony Higman. He called this really bad things about this. It's like, why? It's grimy AF. He said it's basically once you go ahead and search or picks an advertiser, then you can go ahead and show competitors. Google, what's wrong with you? But truth is, Yelp and other platforms do this. Not that it makes it right, but Ginny Marvin did say, yeah, we saw our consumers actually doing this, and why shouldn't we make it easier for consumers to reach out to multiple people if they're doing that anyway? But again, Advertisers are obviously not happy about this, but it is what it is. Google Ads is beta testing something called search themes. Search themes went live this week to, I think it was specifically in certain regions. I could be wrong. Definitely take a look at that details. But Google Search Themes is, and we describe it, is a Google Ads Performance Max feature, which Search Themes is an optional signal that you could use to inform Google AI, about your businesses to expand relevant reach across Google ad campaigns. Right now, it's an option that you could opt in for, but in 2024, early 2024, your Google will automatically upgrade your existing customer segments based on search activity to search themes. So keep that in mind. You definitely want to take a look at this because it's going to happen automatically in the coming months. Google AdSense now launched new frequency controls for vignette ads. This lets you go and basically say how often do you want those ads to show up after the user loads the page. So the different controls here, as you see in the screenshot or this GIF, is you click on the overlay formats, you click on the vignette ads, hopefully pronouncing that right. And after you do that, it lets you go ahead and customize how frequently, every 10 minutes, that's 5 minutes, every whatever number of minutes you want those ads to show up, and it will do that. So it's a pretty big upgrade for that format. Talking about AdSense, Microsoft has officially relaunched pubCenter. I know we covered this a couple times earlier in the past couple of months. We call the pubCenter Next, but now Microsoft has revamped pubCenter. They're actually announcing it like it's brand new, like it was never live before. It was live since 2006, initially under content ads. Then it became pubCenter a couple years after that, and it kind of dwindled down. And now Microsoft's saying we launched pubCenter again. They're not again, they're just saying we launched a brand new pubCenter. So keep that in mind. It's basically an AdSense competitor. You take a look at that. It should be available to a bunch of regions as well. So definitely take a look at that. If you want to sign up for that, you can. I have more details about that on October 27th at scroundtable.com. Google announced a bunch of map changes. One that specifically you as SEOs should know is that they're going with a new photo-first approach, where Google's going to show photos before it shows the name of the business, the description, the reviews, the call us buttons. All that's going to come after the photos. Google's calling this a photo-first search result. This happens in the Google Maps listings in mobile, and this is rolling out to some regions, specifically in the France, Germany, Japan, UK, and the US this week. But again, you may have to make sure your photos are really good, because if Google's leading with photo first, those photos must lead to more clicks. Google is also sending out new business profile suspension emails with more details. This is spotted in the local search forums. This is a nice find. Google and Microsoft both announced earnings this week, both showing that their ad revenue is starting to now increase after multiple months of decreasing growth. Google showed an increase in ad revenue up 9.5%. Again, this is an increase, which is nice. And overall ad revenue was up 11%. I have a chart here to show you what the growth was there. And Microsoft said their growth was up 10% across their advertising department as well, which was going down and down. Now it's starting to go up and up. Here's another chart for you to see that. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for sponsoring Judah. Check them out, and be well, be safe, and be happy. Bye-bye.